Please remember as you go into this school year, how am I going to be intentional? And others really, truly can't help but notice.
VIBE EDU is all about building community and knowing that this job is not something that you can do alone.
VIBE EDU made it seem, what do I need to do to make myself be the best version of myself in the classroom?
The VIBE EDU has had a huge impact on me and my classroom, so I really want to talk about how it's positively impacted my students.
VIBE this weekend has been really powerful for me. I got to bring 8 of my staff members, and it was nice to hear all of the things that we are working for as a team and then continuing to push ourselves as educators. I have everyone in my herd now, and we're ready to go.
All right. Does that get you excited?
Yeah, very cool.
So this is going to be the VIBE EDU reflection episode as we are back from California and got to experience for the first time a 2-day event, because last year was just the 1 day, but this year we had a VIP experience where the 4 of us got to be on stage, record a live episode. Hopefully everyone tuned into that because we released that last week. And yeah, it was so much fun to be in the presence of all 3 of you. And then, of course, to see TJ for the first time in person was super fun. So in addition to the fact that not only the event was really, really cool, but we got to connect in various times, having breakfast, lunch, dinner together. And I feel like it just wasn't enough time.
No, it wasn't.
I needed more. I needed more of the VIBE EDU crew.
I know, same.
Kim, where do you want to go with this conversation?
Well, I just go back to after night 1. The 4 of us are sitting there, you know, in like the bar area of the hotel, and we're having a beer, and we were like, okay, let's talk about our takeaways. Okay, let's talk about our takeaways. And we would like just go on these tangents the whole time. And then we were there for like, I don't even know, until what time? Midnight?
We were at least midnight.
I know. And I feel like I can't even remember those conversations. I was like, we need to maybe do a redo. That's what we need to do right now. So I think, I mean, my favorite comment, I'll say compliment, but it is a compliment, but comment came from a district leader, friend of ours, who flew out from New York. And she walked up to me after night 1 and said, the way you were able to just like wrap everybody up in like a warm blanket and hold space for them was such a beautiful thing. And I'll never forget that. Like, that's what we did. That's what we did in that space. It's so, so special. People were vulnerable. I mean, there were definitely tears in my session for sure. And I just asked them, like, why did you even choose this session? The human behind the teacher. Why are you even here? And instantly they were like, tears, right? And then everybody was opening up. And I mean, it was so special. I mean, the whole, even day 2 was also, but I guess like, anything, I want to know anything that you guys have heard from people who have either like seen stuff on social media, or people came up to you after, you know, night 1 or day 2, or your own like takeaways. I'd love to know. Like TJ, I want to hear from you. This was like your first round.
Yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. Great to see Josh for the first time in person. Always great to hang out with the whole group together, whether it's virtual or always better in person, actually. But I was impressed with the community, honestly. The people there spending a Friday night and a large portion of their Saturday to have this experience and to learn and grow. I just think that's impressive for educators getting ready to start another school year, and for them to be pouring into themselves. And you could feel that it was all about getting better for kids. And I just want to stress that it was a Friday night into a Saturday that people were giving up away from their families at the end of a summer, of a well-deserved summertime. And there were administrators in the room, teachers, teacher leaders, district office staff, teachers from every level. We need to do a little bit more secondary, a little bit more marketing towards secondary. But yeah, I was just impressed with the community. That was my favorite part, really, is feeling the vibe.
I mean, I have to tell you, speaking of community, So I've had conversations with teachers in my community, in my cohorts, and they keep on going back to, I just posted this on Instagram last night before I went to bed, TJ. It was you talking about we need to move from a culture of why to a culture of try. And they we were talking about it last night on Voxer. We were talking about it. They're commenting on Instagram. Like that is one of the top things that has stuck with them. And I think it's because you don't ever really hear that from somebody who's been in a position at the top. Like nobody really speaks that way to teachers. And you said it so beautifully through a story that every single person in that room was like, yeah, how do we fix that? How do we do that? And they're wanting that. They're talking about being in their PLCs and tough teachers in their groups. And they're like, how do we really truly move from a culture of why to a culture of try? They're still talking about that, TJ, over a week later. It's so cool.
That is cool. I think partially because that's so layered for people. The culture of why, continuing to ask people what their why is, has become kind of like trendy in education. And I don't know if that's really what the inception of that theory is about. It's really about understanding the why of the organization and what drives the organization. That doesn't come from within, although it can be connected. And then I think the part that your audience kind of like shook their head about is the questioning and the reflecting on things that we haven't tried. It's like, that will never work. Or, I knew a version of that from 10 years ago. Or, thinking about the strategy or the initiative through the weekend and coming in and picking holes in it versus just trying it.
Right.
And then reflecting. Like educators tend to reflect before they try and figure it out. And that's, I think sometimes the opposite of progress is perfection. And we're just looking for that perfection and we never get to the progress part, which is the try. And that's where I think the audience really got to it. Failure with a capital F. You always nail it, Josh. He's got a bank of those.
I know.
I do.
He does. Like, it's not like he remembers.
And I said this,
stuff.
TJ, at the live recording. I didn't have my buttons and my toys when we were there. I just had to sit there patiently and not be able to play around.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell?
Well, he might need more think time. I got another story. I'll give you more think time while I tell one more story. The other thing, TJ, that they really have been talking about, a teacher went into her classroom. So school just started for this teacher. But before she went back to her classroom to button up things, she looked at all of her walls. And she, in her brain, she said, this is not going to work. And this is her phrase. This is not going to work for my TJs who come to me. Right? Think about that. Think about that. She was like, this is not going to support the TJs in my classroom. And so she went through and was very intentional and took down things where she was like, nope, this does not belong on my walls. And so you have to know, the little nuggets that all three of you guys put out there, that stuff sticks in their brains. And we continue to have conversations all year long. And that's what we do on the podcast too. I bring up those things, but you have to know, this was people felt this stuff deep in their souls. It wasn't surface level. I take a note and do nothing with it. It was heart work that happened.
Yeah. I liked that part too, because people were so eager and they came up to me and I don't have all the answers, but they were like, would it be okay if I did this? And would it be okay if I did that? And I do need this certain chart. And the kids refer to it. Is that okay? And there's a lot that is still okay, right? But we just have to be mindful of the noise in the room. And I think Mitch drove that point home scientifically. And totally. I kind of just explained what it's like for a kid who's bothered by all that noise. One thing, Kim, that I wanted to address that I just didn't get to say, and I think that you and I talked about it afterwards, but there was a lot of questions, at least 3 or 4 questions about music. Is it okay to play music? In that conversation about language on the wall and noise in the room, it is okay to play music on occasion. I think we got to be intentional about when we put the music on. If this is meant for concentration time, quiet time, think time, the music doesn't belong. But if kids are going to be rustling around and working a project and talking anyway, playing some light music in the background could be soothing and calming. It's just a lot of times our intuition tells us, okay, it's quiet in here and the kids need to do individual work. So let's put music on. That's not the time to use the music. But I wouldn't say don't use music in your classroom at all. It's just a nuance of these things that are important. But I like the group because they were so thoughtful and so hungry to learn and to be able to do better for their kiddos.
All right. Is that good thinking time?
For me?
Yes, for you.
Yeah.
Midge, can I throw you a question though?
Sure.
Well, because we've been there 2 years in a row.
Mhm.
Did you see a difference between year 1 and year 2?
Good question.
Yeah, I did. And that was kind of what stood out to me in terms of reflection. And TJ kind of mentioned it, but how I think with the inaugural year, people were kind of showing up. Most of them probably already familiar with certainly Kim and most likely the community. This year felt like there was people new to it, kind of checking it all out. But for the people who I'm assuming were part of the community came really prepared with like really good questions. Like, I'm here. Yes. Because there is one part of me that could see it being kind of what TJ just said too. Like, I got to be in person with my friends or with these people in this community that I'm on Voxer with pretty much 24/7. I get to go hang out in person. Like, that's of course a really good thing and a big draw. But it felt like, for as intentional as the design and the prep and execution of the whole thing, they seemed really intentional about their professional growth and wanting to learn and curious and hungry and prepared. Like, just thinking ahead of time. The one lady it was Diane brought her book for me to sign from and I'm gonna forget, it's in the middle of the country.
South Dakota?
Was it South Dakota?
Yes, yeah.
I was trying to help my brother out. He wasn't going to get it. He wasn't going to
I
get
knew.
it.
I was just trying to picture, but I mean, even that is like there's preparation and intentionality showing up as an attendee, where sometimes that can feel a little bit more passive. Like, I'm here to learn, I hope, but it felt like they came with some really good questions to ask, problems they wanted to solve, things to explore. Which the question I wanted to throw out there. Josh asked a question too, but like, was that all part of the prep? Has that been, or is that just a culture,
a byproduct?
I mean, I think because these teachers are tuning into the podcast also, they know the types of conversations that the four of us are having. And yes, we continue conversations, if they're part of the community, we get to continue them. And, but I think because people are tuning in and listening, they were really, really thinking ahead of time before they came. I mean, even remember day 2 when I was like, okay, let's just throw it out there. When we recorded the podcast, and the teacher, her name is Kim, she's in the front and she's like, her hand went straight up. And she's like, I wrote it down last night because I didn't want to forget. And I was thinking, wow, you came prepared. Yeah, you were prepared to ask this question. She was so thoughtful and so eloquent the way she asked it too.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what stood out to me.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
I agree with that.
The exclamation point of TJ made of it's a Friday night and a Saturday. And for everybody listening, it took TJ 16 hours to get back home. So you better be thankful he was there.
I know.
I think there were a couple other attendees that had similar experiences.
Yes, our girl Diane had to sleep in the airport in, I think, Colorado. I think she was at the airport.
There's worse places to be. I mean, at least she was
not too many. Worse than sleeping in an airport.
I know.
I guess there's a few. But
I know.
Anyway, Josh, I interrupt you. What were you saying?
No. I was thinking you were done, so I apologize. No, I was going to bounce off of what you said because I was thinking the same thing. But in addition, I think this time around, in addition to being prepared, I think there was a feeling of like safety due to what Kim was talking about. Like, they were vulnerable, they were transparent, they really shared like true emotions. There were tears, there were problems that they were laying out, but I feel like they understood that they belonged, they were connected with other educators, that they were going to be heard, they were going to be valued by everyone, and they were able to be themselves and share out some really tough things that were shared out in those 2 days. And so I kudos to you, Kim, because I know you're constructing this community where those things exist, but then to have it in person, yes, there was excitement, right? They're hugging and jumping on each other. You know, they were so excited to see each other in person. But then when we got into it, you know, especially those breakouts, when you had your student share out her story, and then of course, like the second day, there was just a lot of vulnerability that was there, and I don't know, I was kind of blown away by it because it was a different feel from year one. You know, they were just kind of getting the understanding of what this experience is. And I think for those who were repeat in year two, they really took advantage of knowing the construct, and I'm going to get what I need out of this. And I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to get the answers that I'm seeking. I'm going to share my true emotions. And then on the other side of it, you know, have my cup filled and feel prepared to go into the school year.
Mm-hmm. On
Can I?
day,
I'm going to say one thing, Kim, and then you can wrap us up because I know we're trying to stick to 15. I felt like there was one piece of evidence that confirms that it's just a different type of event was it seemed like the returning people, this was just it built on year one. It didn't feel like two distinct events that could be both really good. You know, like we've all spoke at conferences, maybe year after year, same event, you get invited to speak back or something. But there's something there that Josh said that stood out to me, that it seemed like it might be the type of event that gets richer the more times you go. I don't know how to define that, but I felt like I could kind of feel that and see it, the connections people were making. Yep. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can stack on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can I speak now? I was having a flashback. Is it my
flashback? Turn? Yes, because you did the same thing like six or seven times. Yeah, at the live event. Yeah, to Kim.
I have one more thing to say. I'm kidding.
This is it.
I thought she was gonna wring your neck live.
I know. I was thinking like when I had to stop people on day two, remember we did 2 breakout sessions, and Josh and I were talking about this, we were reflecting the other day.
Yeah.
And how I had to stop them after like 25 minutes, and they were pissed. They were pissed
not
at
happy.
you. They were not happy. And I was like, okay, I know you're angry and you can stay where you are, or you can kind of rotate around. But I think it's because the people that were coming, they're already listening to the 4 of us. They knew the conversations that they wanted to have. They wanted support. They wanted answers. And they knew that if they stuck with who they wanted to be speaking to, right, then they were going to get it. And I love that. I love that so much. I was also, TJ, you and I have talked about Lou. Mm-hmm. And I would love for you to talk about how because you had never seen her speak before. And you and I, the 4 of us, we were talking afterwards, and I just love your thoughts. So what were you thinking?
I mean, think about changing people's minds about their work in the moment. Like we were doing that as a team in some cases. I could see it, and you talked about it with even the stuff on the walls. But I really think she could speak to principal groups too. She's so eloquent with what she describes in terms of her own experience in schools as a neurodiverse thinker, and she could change your mind. A whole room full of principals, she could change your mind in terms of like what you even allow from teacher to teacher. Things that she said just stuck with me, like group roles, like the application of group roles to whole classes of kids, and how some of those rules don't fit. Mm-hmm. And the teachers who really provided the support that she needed made her a super learner. Like if the directions are clear, she knows exactly what to do. Guess what? That's true of all kids.
Right.
And I couldn't stop thinking about it. In fact, I was probably a bad student because I was talking to Mitch. Every time she said something that stuck with me, I was like, dude, did you hear that?
I enjoyed being a fly on TJ's brain as he was, because I remember TJ at one point you're like, she's the perfect student, and I was like, and that was a different perspective than what I was listening to, and so it was nice to hear your commentary, even though you were talking to Mitch. I was tuned in also.
But what she talks about, and then her mom can also talk about, and then I, as the teacher brain, can also talk about. It was like this trifecta conversation after she spoke that unlocked, I think, another layer of people's brains too.
For sure.
Yeah.
And heartwarming, heartfelt, super cool. That was definitely a highlight for me. Absolutely.
I know it was.
Yeah, it'd be worth making connections to her talk, her experience. You know, if we could have time to talk about what it means to create inclusive learning environments, which is not just about, it's about all kids. Like TJ and I are kind of like banter. It was just like, well, of course, wouldn't everybody flourish if just tell me exactly what it is we're doing? Tell me, make that clarity piece she would, would come back to. It's the ambiguity that can be the barrier to inclusion so often.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was good. Really good.
I mean, the speech pathologist, my friend Jen, is the one that stood up afterwards and she was like, you changed my life, right? Like she literally stood up as a speech pathologist, been doing this for years and years and years, multiple school districts, multiple schools. And she's like, you changed my life. And then I looked at Lucy and was like, you changed my life. And also speech pathologist, you changed mine, because I had Lucy in my classroom and the dream was we all need to speak the same language. I need to support all kids, and I especially need to support her. So what are we doing here? And when I went to her and said, give me what you got. What are you doing in this little room 4 times a week for 30 minutes? Whatever you're doing, I need to be doing in my classroom to support all kids. That's where all of this came to light. The Bison framework, mindset, like all of that, needing one another, not doing this work alone. It all came to light because she was in my classroom. She literally changed the lives of so many educators and students all across the world. Seriously, even Indonesia.
Truth.
Yeah. She needs to write a book. Like I think I could see her writing like from the student perspective, the do's and don'ts of how to run a school and a classroom.
Right.
She even spoke about school leadership and the leaders who were student first. Sometimes had to put their foot down about things that teachers were doing that weren't supporting all learners.
Mm-hmm.
But she's super eloquent, and I look forward to hearing more from her. Even though she said it's difficult for her to speak to groups like that, she did such a great job. You couldn't tell it all.
I mean, you don't even know. Every year, I've been having her speak since the beginning of all of this at every event. And every time I record my face, it's not even just like an email or anything. I record my face with a short video requesting her. And every year her mom shows the video and she goes, oh no, not the GAMS again. Like every time, like here she goes again. And then every year we say, both her mom and I, you don't have to. But in her heart, in her soul, like she is a change maker, that girl. Mm-hmm. She really is. And she knows it. And so she knows, like, the teachers, the principals, they need to hear from me. And that's why she does it every single year. And it takes a lot for her to, I mean, we were talking last year about, when you think of like a duck on like a swimming on a lake and it's super calm on top, but those little feet underneath the water are like going super, super fast. That's what's happening in that brain, right? And in that body. And so we really need to be thinking, yes, she is super eloquent. It looked like it was just what she does, easy breezy all day long. It took a lot for her to get up on that stage. But I'm so thankful that she did.
It was such a good speech. So many nuggets. I hope that's recorded somewhere because I'd like to even just see the transcript of it. Some of the best stuff is when she would lose her place and she'd be like, pause.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Josh, maybe the tools behind the system, or maybe there is a pause. Let's all take a break and start back up in a minute. But no, it it was really cool. And I think a lot of people need to hear the message. It came back up in my group the next day about hiccups and blips. And I made this lesson plan and it didn't unfold and the kid was rolling around on the ground. And I said to the group, you guys have to lean into that. Like, it is messy work and it's not going to go 100% the way that you think. And gone are the days where we built something and 25 kids in front of us did exactly that and had the attention to give to every segment of the lesson. I said, if you have a kid and they're kind of squirrely and not paying attention for a short segment and another kid who's kind of squirrely and not paying attention to another segment, but they both come back on task at different times, like that, we just have to chalk up as the way the world is now, and that it doesn't just unfold so smoothly. If you have a kid who can't pay attention at all or who acts up all the time, I think that is something that's a red flag. But expecting kids, especially little kids, to devote 6 to 7 hours of their attention to school in a school building, I just think it's unrealistic. And so all the strategies that she talked about could apply to every learner, specifically neurodiverse learners, but all of our brains work more similarly than different. She just is able to articulate it better than most of us.
Josh?
We're going to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, I want to know, for those who are listening, what was your takeaways from the 2-day event? If you were there for the first night or if you were there for both, I'd love for you to jump in the comment section, both either on YouTube or on Spotify. And I don't know, I'd like to continue the conversation and read some of these out on the podcast and just kind of let folks know, especially if you weren't there, what the people that were in the room, they were experiencing it, they saw what was going on and what their takeaways were. So we'd love to hear from you specifically. Of course, if you need anything from us, we have all of our links in the show notes. And if you find value in this podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching, in addition to giving us some awesome feedback in the, not only in the comment section, but also rating and reviewing the podcast, because that only helps get the word out about this being a potential PD in everyone's pocket. So we appreciate you being with us this week. For those who are at the event, thank you so much for joining us. We know it took a lot of time, a lot of resources, and we are just feeling so valued that you were with us for those 2 days. So with that, see you again next week as we start back up on creating your school reputation, as we're working through supporting each other and connecting to your community.